Is it just me? Or do cunnilingus and fellatio both sound like they could be supporting characters in a Shakespearean dramedy? Welcome to another episode of Films with Ferrell. Folks, we've got an important one here today. We will be looking into the 3 best HBO Max shows on television right now. That's right, folks. It's another streaming site. You bet. These are 3 of the best television shows I've seen in a long time, and it's time that you yourself actually look into them as well. Speaking of things that are very important, today's episode is brought to you by Commander Colon Cleaner. Now, blowouts just aren't for your hair, they're also for your derriere. Folks, we've got a good one here today. Strap in. Let's go. All right, party people. So like we mentioned, we will be examining, in my opinion, the 3 best shows that are on HBO right now. So there are a lot of movies still dropping out there right now. In my opinion, though, it's all about the original content that is being pushed out in terms of television shows. Hollywood doesn't have a lot of original ideas right now, so more and more big name actors are actually jumping onto the smaller screen to actually take shots at more character driven, more story driven stories. You can only make the Avenger movies 20 odd times until a lot of people kind of just get bored with that shit. So this is where original programming comes in. Now, history shows us HBO has always been around. Okay, HBO has always been pumping out content, whether it be from The Sopranos to Entourage to Westworld, whatever else actually might be out there. So they're no stranger to actually creating this original content. Growing up, never had HBO. Okay, so if you're like me, you might actually benefit from this streaming service. It is nice. HBO now, you don't actually just have to have the channels with cable. You can buy the streaming service on its own. Okay, so HBO streaming service, a lot of original content out there. You get your movies, you get your television shows, you name it, it's out there. Price point, we're looking at about $15 a month. So not absurd when it comes to, how much money it is for the streaming platform. It's about kind of on par for the course with everything else that's out there in terms of streaming sites right now. What I did find interesting, okay, doing a little research, looks like HBO is actually having a deal right now. Kind of would compare it to Hulu just a little bit in terms of we can have ads or no ads. So right now it looks on their website, again, we're looking at about $7.99 if you do want ads with your television shows on the HBO streaming site. If you want to pay, we call it rich Hulu around my parts, not really. I just call it that. But if you want rich people HBO, it's $11.99. Okay, so $11.99 gets you no ads, gets you just binging, boom, 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 with the television shows. So in terms of like price point, not too bad with what you're actually going to be getting. So if we take a look over here, one of the main reasons, again, why someone would want HBO, a lot of the original content. HBO is doing something now as well to where you will see movies that release in theater also have a release to HBO. To think right off the top, we have the Matrix movies that just released. The Suicide Squad, Reminiscence. Now the last 2 actually seen and featured on Films with Ferrell as well. So, worth checking out. We will be diving into these. If you don't have HBO, again, I would suggest getting it or finding a friend that actually has HBO, gives you the account. I'm not sponsored by HBO, so I think I can say those things. I'm not exactly sure. But what we will be diving into, really the 3 best shows that are on HBO Max right now. So let's examine a little bit more. So first on our list here, it's currently in season 1 of debut on HBO. It's The Peacemaker. Again, a 2022 debut. You are seeing John Cena reprising his role as Peacemaker as seen in The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad just released a couple months ago on HBO. It's still on there right now if you'd like to check it out. I actually like the movie as well. That movie was reviewed by yours truly as part of season 1 of Films with Ferrell, so I should put a link there below if you want to check that out. Do recommend watching the movie. However, you don't need to have actually watched the movie in order to understand what's going on inside of The Peacemaker. I think James Gunn, writer and director, does a great job at really kind of filling the audience in on the flashbacks that they go back and forth from, so that way the audience doesn't actually have had to have watched that movie in order to actually dive right into the series. Again, we are, as we stand here right now, 4 episodes into season 1. Episodes debuting every Thursday. Just watched an episode last night, actually. Today is Friday. Who knows when this will debut, but season 1, episode 4, pretty decent. Again, it's good for the laughs. I absolutely love John Cena in this role. Kind of a fun fact, too, as we mentioned, writer and director James Gunn wrote this entire first season during quarantine. He never actually thought it was going to get made, but here we are, X number of months, maybe a year later, actually talking about it. And, you know, it's literally there. I thought James Gunn did a great job with that. Now, this isn't going to win any awards, okay? First and foremost, this is just cruel, subtle, situational humor at its finest. This television show I definitely recommend for anyone who loves the superhero, DC, Marvel, any kind of movies that are out there right now. This kind of more reminds me of like a Deadpool series, okay? Now, Ryan Reynolds obviously isn't in it, but Peacemaker is that to a Deadpool. You're going to see a lot of sex jokes, just a lot of jokes in general, a lot of situational humor, a lot of blood, guts, and gore. So if you're looking for something like that, this is right up your alley. Again, we're not watching this movie to look for all the awards that it's going to win, but it is a fucking hilarious television show that's on HBO right now. Again, it's the stupid humor, but I'm a big fan of the stupid humor as well, in along the lines of a superhero movie, but of a television show. So if you do like raunchy comedy, if you like something like Deadpool, you'd absolutely love this movie. The episodes fly by, looking at about 30 minutes to 46 minutes on the episodes. But I just think it's just fantastic, in my opinion, in terms of all of the humor that's actually involved in there. So again, not great for a story or anything along those lines if you're looking for something masterful, but if you're looking for a great laugh, you need to check it out now. Next on the list, very funny show that is currently out. We're currently in season 2 right now. We're looking at The Righteous Gemstones. Now, if you want to catch The Righteous Gemstones, all of season 1 is out on HBO right now. Season 2 episodes drop every Sunday. I believe we're about 4 episodes into season 2 right now. Absolutely star-studded in terms of cast. We're looking at John Goodman, Danny McBride, Adam Devine. Obviously, 3 people that'll make you laugh your ass off. Movie's kind of like television show, rather. It's more of a parody. It's around a family of preachers slash ministers slash, I'm not sure the exact terminology behind that, but you will have parody, you will have some making fun, and kind of like the tax exempt and like just the nonsense that might go on in the house of worship behind closed doors. So it does touch on that a little bit, but more importantly, it will make you laugh your ass off. Again, not just these 3, the entire supporting cast will make you cry laugh at times. The writing and the delivery from these actors is fucking fantastic. I can't say that enough. Again, it's probably one of the funnier television shows that I've watched in the last little bit. I did mention that The Peacemaker was funny in terms of cruise humor. This fucking knocks The Peacemaker out of the water in terms of delivery, in terms of just the overall story of these characters. Now, when we're looking just at this television show a little bit more, this was created by Danny McBride, all right? McBride's as one of the main actors in it, also the creator. Directed by David Gordon Green. Now, David Gordon Green has worked with McBride on a handful of other projects, including Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals, also working on the new reboot of the Mike Myers Halloween movie. So they have that chemistry right there. Absolutely amazing show, though. If you're looking for, you know, just absolute funny jokes, funny situations, just an overall great ensemble of characters, The Righteous Gemstones is absolutely for you. I was a little bit surprised, too, when I was watching this. Again, just based on the jokes, based on the star-studded cast right here, I was expecting it to not really take a turn in terms of really having a nice undertone at times of family values, of actually introducing characters that you care for, that you know, a story that you want to see develop and not just continue to laugh. So not a family television show by any means of the imagination. I say that again, not a family show by any means of the imagination, unless your family is like older or you let them watch that shit, which, hey, more power to you. But it does at times have some good family tones to it, which really surprised me, especially considering the cast and the storyline. You do see at times where it is more than just jokes. It is about the family values, because it is really about the family business, and we are talking about God and things along those lines as well. But this is a fucking gem, no pun intended, to be watching. The cast, absolutely amazing. The storyline, the delivery, everything. So it is worth checking out. Second on the list here, but, you know, let's go on to number 1. No surprise here, rounding out my top three is probably number one of the television shows that I've really watched in the last couple years, and that is Succession. Succession, absolutely beautifully done television show that centers around the Roy family. Pretty much top of the 1% list, kind of watching the day ins and day outs of the wealthy 1% that own just an extreme conglomerate. And just kind of watching the inner workings of this family owned company. The good news for you guys that haven't seen Succession yet, you have 3 full seasons of television of Succession out on HBO right now. Season 3 just wrapped up a little bit ago, beautifully done, might I add. Season 4 probably be out, I'd say, within a year or so. In terms of actors, you do have Brian Cox, Jeremy Strong, Kieran Culkin, just to name a few. This television show has absolutely cleaned up in terms of Emmys, in terms of television awards. It has anything that you'd be looking for in a television series. You have the plot is there. The story just kind of keeps rising and falling, rising and falling. You have the characters, the character dynamics, the relationships. It has everything that you would want in a television series. Good news, if you're more of like an action-packed person, don't really like long stories in terms of television, you would still like this just with all the backstabbing, the lying, the manipulating of corporate America taking place inside of one's family. So while this doesn't have a ton of blood, guts, and shooting, this story is unlike anything I have ever seen before. Again, one of my top television shows that I've really ever seen, top television show for sure that I'm watching right now. These episodes just fly by. You are so hooked with everything that goes on in here. It's just so beautifully done. Literally, if you haven't watched this right now, I know I listed 2 other ones. This needs to be at the top of your list. Okay, you might not laugh the entire time, but you will laugh at times. You will cry, not really, but I mean, it is just so beautifully done that if anything, just for the art of it all, you will appreciate this. Thanks for making the time here today, folks, on another episode of Films with Ferrell. As discussed, these 3 television shows are absolutely fantastic and really worth watching. Now, for those of you that still haven't actually bought HBO streaming service yet, highly recommended. Again, there are deals going on right now, anywhere between $7.99 to $11.99 a month for this streaming platform. In my personal opinion, probably one of the top 3 streaming platforms that are out there right now, especially with all the original shows that come with it in terms of HBO. I just invested about 4 or 5 days of my time, I'm not really proud to say that, but watching The Sopranos for the first time ever, because I grew up with no HBO. You have The Sopranos, again, Westworld, Entourage, just 3 television shows that I'm naming right off the bat that have already